Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cove Club, the one interview show that some people say is wacky, some people say it's controversially political, some people say it shouldn't be ran by someone so wacky. I say it all those three things. It's the internet, y'all. You gonna get what you can get. Uh, I am your host, and today, for what is honestly the best surprise I could have ever gotten from one of my assistants and one of my editors at the same time is my favorite musical producer that I've met over the last several years. This is the first time I got to meet him, so it's like I'm meeting one of my heroes.
Oh,
If you guys have not heard any of his tracks, we like to do promotional stuff for him for the studio all the time. And he's making his own animated series. It is a series, right? Because I don't want to get it wrong.
it is. It is a series, yes.
Okay. He's making his own animated series. A lot of amazing talent is being behind it with a lot of his incredible music of I Love Brandon.
Oh, thank you. Jeez, I feel like you've overestimated my abilities. Gee,
I'm sorry, I'm a huge fan. I
thank you. I
can't.
appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you. Thank you. It's very kind of you to say. Thank you so much.
Before we get started, so I can collect myself a little bit, um, would you like to tell the audience at home that will be watching and listening a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I am first and foremost a writer and a music composer. Been doing it for about 2 decades now, and we got some pretty good stuff on the rise. And can't really talk way too much about it, but I'm just working on some really awesome things with some really incredible people. And I'm just really thankful to, just be a part of this.
Oh my god, even when you're just being so low key, you're so cool. I gotta stop. I gotta stop.
That's so kind. Thank you. Thank you so much. Truly.
uh, it's a pleasure. Okay, so I don't even know what to do with myself since this is the last interview I'm holding with people. So So my assistant compiled a lot of great questions that we've narrowed down to at least 11. So
Yeah.
we'll be able to knock them out pretty easily.
Awesome.
First question is probably the most favorite question I've ever asked people in the music side of the art world. What started your passion in the first place?
I have quite a bit, just quite a few musicians in my family. My father he's an amazingly classically trained piano player. As well, I have like a cousin of mine who plays. He's a drummer. He's like a famous drummer. He plays for so many different people. So music's always sort of been embedded within my family. And from I grew up listening to a lot of film composers. Ironically enough, so I was the kid that grew up listening to like Metallica, and then I would turn around and listen to John Williams, or like, and then I listen to Prince, and then I turn around and listen to Michael Giacchino, and then I turn around and listen to Art Tatum and Oscar Peterson, and things like that. So there's always been like a sort of eclectic blend of music behind what I did, and so I think I've always kind of had the ability, like just being around so many talented musicians, you just kind of get used to that feeling. And so my father, being a piano player, he never really taught me how to play piano. He just trained my ear with things like music theory. And I guess after high school, I sort of got to a place where I wanted to kind of branch off on my own. And I was making what I just like to call just making beats for a little while. And ironically enough, the compliments I would get from people used to stem from things like, well, this doesn't sound like an artist to me. This sounds more like a scene in a movie. And after a while, I started saying to myself, well, let me get more into the composing and arranging side of things. So even when I'm producing, it's much more of a arranging and composing experience, because I kind of want to blend digital and natural production. I kind of want to blend making beats with composing, and just kind of trying my hand at both of those things. So that's kind of how I really got started. And that didn't even happen until after I was around 25 or so.
It just goes to show, and for everyone at home listening, you don't just find all the answers automatically. Just steps happen.
Truly, truly.
All right. Next question is my favorite, like, very easy breezy question I've been asking a lot of people ever since I think my second episode with this show.
Okay.
Could you walk everyone through a day in the life of just being you, away from the music, the writing, the composing, just you, the individual? Like, just give us a step by step thing of like your daily routine, I guess.
Oh, well, I guess it'll be interesting enough for me to say I don't really have too much of a routine. I kind of just allow things to just flow through me, but there are some similarities in things that I do daily. I'm a big I'm a person of faith, so I usually start my day with prayer, and just kind of like just getting my day started with just being thankful. You know what I mean? So other than that, I usually drink a bit of tea before I start working. That's usually in the morning and in the evening. And beyond that, if I'm not working on something creatively, I usually take time to really just do things like I'm a big bookstore person, or like to take myself on a little bit of lunch and just be quiet. I find solace in the simplest kinds of things. So that's pretty much what a day in my life is. I'm pretty low key, pretty quiet, and I kind of like it that way, honestly.
I swear that's my favorite question to ask because everyone I know is like, why are you so fascinated with people's everyday lives? And it astonishes me what people love in their day to day because the smallest stuff matters so much, and a lot of people take that for granted.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think for me, the world can be a bit overwhelming at times. It can be a bit noisy. And I think it's always good to just kind of center yourself and be at a place where you are comfortable in your own skin. And I think a lot of awesome stuff really flows from you being secure in yourself. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
Thank you. Thank you. Question the third. Why is there a fly here? Get out off my screen. Uh, Anywho, question the third. What would you say is your favorite genre of? I know it's a weird question to ask, but everyone has like the
Not
one
at all.
key genre that they love more than the others. And what is that for you?
For me, I would say jazz music. Jazz music is, to me, jazz music is the Jeet Kune Do of the musical genre. You blend so many things, but at the same time, there's a lot of improvisation. But at the same time, there's also things like technique. So for me, I just love genre blending because I grew up listening to just a whirlwind of different things. But jazz music, I don't know, it's just something about it that it just resonates with the core of who I am. And I think every piece of music because I wouldn't really call myself a genre specific musician. Like I don't really too much care what the genre that I'm working in is, so long as the music or the message behind the music moves me. So when I am creating, I think everything that flows from the music I make is rooted in jazz rather. So yeah, jazz is probably my favorite.
I get it. Trust me. Jazz has always been a staple in my household where I kind of pass on to my daughters where they're just like, Dad, you
Yeah.
always keep playing the same different genre of music over and over. Why do you love jazz so much? And I'm like, have you ever taken like a small day with either some coffee or some tea, whether it's a rainy day or just a nice, breezy, sunny day? Let the
Yeah.
whole mood wash around you with either Tony Bennett or, like for me personally, like when I put on TC Carson's album and just
Yeah.
vibe out the whole day with that.
Yeah.
Before I then just start going into fanboy mode again, let me get into question number 4. I'm trying, but I'm just a huge fan. I'm sorry.
Oh, you are too kind. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful to be here. Thank you.
Uh, question the 4th. Oh wow, this is put in 5 different languages. That's interesting, anonymous. Um, if you were to instill any advice to any upcoming producers or songwriters, beat writers, whatever have you, what would you say is the best advice to give them today?
Oh, I don't know if this would be the best advice, but if I can help anybody, I do my utmost. But I think for me, it's believing in yourself slash not giving up. I think um, sus- in in our society, in our communities, a lot of people have put things like timestamps on when they should have certain things together in life, uh, whether it be creatively or personally. And what I'm learning is to not limit myself by placing sort of ceiling on what I believe God can do in my life. So it's amazing what can happen when you don't limit yourself by things like your personal time and age, because it's really about timing. It's not about like how old you are. Like things can happen for you at any given moment, and I think as long as you're open to that, um, then things will work out for you. That's why people that are relentless often succeed, and they have to be relentless because in order for you to receive a manifestation of the vision that's for your life, you have to see it before anyone else does. And I think in order for you to see that, you have to believe in yourself beyond where you currently are. So your circumstances don't matter. Things can happen for you at any time. But I think the thing is, when we're waiting for something to happen, you cultivate your character in the interim, because even when you are in a space where you might not want to be creatively or personally, whatever, there's always a chance for you to grow as far as your character, because I think your character contributes to where you end up. Because there are loads of people that have lots of money, wealth, ambition, whatever it is, like, but those things just amplify who you already were before you had them. If you don't know how to manage $100, what do you think you're going to do with $100,000? You're going to be that much more worse with that amount of money. If you're living in an unhealthy state before you receive, like, I don't know, like you get married or you have children or something like that, then all you're going to do is project your unhealthiness onto everything and everyone that you're responsible for. So I'm a big proponent of character. And I think your character a lot stems from what you truly believe about yourself, and believing about yourself without lying to yourself. I think that's a big proponent into where we end up in our lives. So believe in yourself and believe in yourself beyond your current circumstance. And I think those things will help you traverse along the path that you really want to go down to. And you have to be patient with yourself, because when you believe in yourself, when you're learning the abilities of believing yourself, rather than you are also at a place of where you're developing your character. So when you're developing your character, you're developing things like your discipline. You're developing like the fortitude to stay in the fight. Like you're developing all these things at the same time. So that's why I'm such a big proponent of that. So I would say just believe in yourself.
That is amazing and very poignant advice. I have no words. That's just very good advice. God dang.
Thank you. Thank you. I try to at least, do my best to live what I say. I'm not always the best person at it, but I try to do what I can.
I understand. I truly do understand. Um, my apologies. I'm trying to fix something that my editors forgot to fix up, so that's my own bad
It's all
right
right.
there.
Yeah. It's all right. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
All right. Now that's fixed up. Let me get into question number five. Five. Yeah, five. Sorry. It's been a long day.
It's all right. Don't worry about it.
um, so you've made a lot of incredible tracks with a lot of incredible people, but question number five from my own assistants slash editors, they were pretty much on the same page as me. What is the silliest song you've ever produced? Like the one that made you laugh the most?
Oh, oh my goodness. So this is so funny. So a friend of mine, she wanted me to like teach her like the ropes of production or whatever. So I'm teaching her the ropes of something, and we find this sample of this guy saying like, "Oh, it feels so good." Like, so we made like this crazy like pop rockish, kind of. It was just really silly. Like the music was all over the place. Like we were taking samples from everywhere, and it didn't make any sense. But just the process of it was so hilariously fun. So that probably was the most interesting and probably most hilarious moment of my production, life at least. So yeah, and I think we called it Pisces Passion because she's a Pisces, so she wanted to make something that was like that. So I was like, oh, let's name it Pisces Passion. It was really funny. So this was years ago. It was really hilarious.
uh, I figured I'd ask because everyone has that whole thing of like, oh, we've done a lot of stuff we're proud of, but I'm like, okay, but what about the silliest one that made you laugh though? And a lot
Yeah,
of people clam up
yeah.
like, oh, I don't know about that, fam. Let me just be on my way.
Oh no, man. I've got loads of moments like that, man. But that's probably the one that sticks out in my mind the most because that was just hilarious. And every time I play it for her, like she cracks up. So yeah, it was a great question, by the way.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Let me see about number six real quick. Ah, here we go. Here we go. I don't even know how we got to this question. That's what happens when you just do these questions over brunch. A lot of stuff makes no sense. Um, so, could you walk us through what inspired this upcoming animated series that you're producing? Because I've been meaning to ask you, but since I left social media for various reasons, I was like, I don't know how to approach him about this. Will he think I'm just an annoying fanboy? I just genuinely want to know because, as a writer myself, I like to understand the process in other people's minds.
Yeah. So, well, I grew up a Adult Swim head, and I mean like before Adult Swim was Adult Swim, back when they used to call it the Midnight Run, where they would play the unedited versions of Toonami programming at midnight. That was in what, like 99, like 98, 99.
I think
And
98?
yeah, yeah. And then from there it became Adult Swim. So I've always been a big fan of that. So the story, Star Child, it's interesting. Around I want to say maybe about 11, 12 years ago, a friend of mine, who's also a big, anime slash Toonami slash Adult Swim fan himself, we used to talk to each other all the time, like just on the phone at work, and we would come up with these stories. And one of them is what ended up becoming Star Child. And it was one of those things where you're saying, like, wouldn't this be cool if like, we had like, this young black man that was piloting like a giant robot, because we had never seen anything like that. But we were like, I would change the music, I would change the premise, just all of that. And so like we ended up losing touch some years back, but I kept going on with the story. And from there, my friend Gabriel Kunda, who is an amazing voice actor, who for the longest I didn't know was a voice actor. He hit me up randomly one day and was just talking. He just said, like, I really like, your writing and your music, because what I used to do was I used to write stories to the music I would make so that when people were listening to it, whether it be on Spotify, Bandcamp, whatever streaming platform, they could read the description and the music would be for that description. And I did that for years, not even realizing that I'd done that. And so when Gabe and I were just conversing back and forth, he was just asking me, he's like, yo, do you have any ideas? And I said, yeah, I've got a few. But I said, I think this one will really resonate with people. Not even dude, it's amazing. We're like, we really feel like we should get like some sort of trailer going or whatever. And I don't know how this happened, but by the grace of God, we were able to, get in contact with Powerhouse Animation, who's they're famous for things like Castlevania, Blood of Zeus. They just came out with the He-Man animated series that's on there too. So, and we got the trailer going. I did the music for it, and now I'm sitting here talking to you.
That sounds like a whole wonderful journey right there. I'm not gonna lie.
It really is. It really is. It really is.
Uh, well, I know we have 5 questions left, but it is time for my final switch up on the table. Where, for anyone that knows my interview series, I am a personal believer as an interviewer that everyone has questions and we all deserve answers. Which is why when I started Cove Club, everyone gets the chance to ask something, which means I'm passing the metaphorical mic to Brandon if he wants to ask me anything, where anything is on the table. I'm a very open, transparent book, and I will answer to the best of my abilities.
All right. Okay. I always want to ask people this question because it's so random, but at the same time, it's just so extra. Um, how do you want to make your mark on the world?
That is a question I always love to answer because no one ever expects that from me. So originally, when I was growing up, I just wanted to leave a mark on the world that said I was here because I was younger. I wasn't really feeling myself. I was a very self-defeatist kid, and
Mm,
then I ended up a teenage dad to my eldest now, where I
mm,
adopted her with my ex, and I kind of kept thinking to myself how life is getting a lot shorter and shorter around myself. I
mm,
I don't want to be a professional voice actor because the 3 years I was pro status was miserable. The agent I
mm,
had was atrocious, and I was just not myself.
mm,
But I knew that I wanted to leave something so that my eldest and now my other 2 daughters could look on to the world and be like, "This is my father," and I'm so proud to be his little princess because I see all
mm.
my kids as my princesses, and when I eventually have a son, they'll be my little prince, obviously.
Yeah.
So my whole entire thing is I don't care what happens in the long run about if I have to work tirelessly till I'm curled up under 17 blankets, sleeping for 3 years, if it
Oh.
means that my daughters can have the biggest mark of saying that their father made all of the things possible so they had no worries for their own kids
Mm,
and their kids' I will die a happy man.
beautiful. 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 It's
Ah,
a
thank
wonderful
you.
thing to aspire to. Yeah.
Any other questions, sir?
That's it. That's the main one for me.
Oh, all right, I'll take it. Then let us dive into the last 5 questions.
Awesome.
Let's see here. Oh, this is a neat one. What is? Oh, I'm sorry. I should rephrase this. What are English? What are some musicians that you'd like to work with personally? Because there's a list for everyone about who they want to work with.
Oh man. Oh, you know, probably my favorite right now. Like somebody I feel like if we joined forces, we would be a serious threat to people. Flying Lotus, he is probably my favorite living producer right now. Like I've always had a huge admiration for his work. Especially because he's dipped in and out of stuff. I mean, he's gone from doing and like doing his own music to working with other people to doing things like his own film to doing things where he's working with other musicians and now he's doing things in the animated series world with Yasuke. So he's probably the first person I think of when it comes to that. Who else? Pharrell Williams, Hans Zimmer. Oh my goodness, if I can get some of his orchestrations in my work, man, that'd be insane. Um, Ludwig Gorinson is another person that I'd like to work with because he's a young composer, but at the same time, he's also done a lot of music for people like Childish Gambino and whatnot. So he's done a lot of uh, mainstream music, but at the same time, he's also done things like The Mandalorian and Tenet, and like so. I just have a lot of respect and admiration for him. So those are probably the people I can think of offhand. Yeah,
It's a great list of people.
man. Yeah, yeah. Those are my people. I probably would add Robert Glasper to that. As a piano player, like he's
I get
insane.
that. I get that so much.
Yeah.
All right. So let me see about number 8. So this is definitely something from my editors because I never even thought about this question before. But how would you react if all of a sudden you woke up one day and heard that your music was being asked to be placed in a gaming ad for not like a big studio, but like an independent studio that's earned the hearts of millions, like Supergiant, for example. How would you react to that exactly?
Um, I would react the way I'd react to most things, which is just with graciousness and patience. Like I don't get too I'm not somebody who gets too hyped up by uh like popularity and like that's just never been me. I'm a pretty personable kind of guy. I mean I care about character. Like I don't care how big or how small your platform is, you know what I mean? Like, so if there's graciousness and respect, then I'll talk to anybody. You know what I mean? Like I don't care about a platform. I care about people, like so I think it would be awesome to work with people that have, garnered a lot of really awesome attention. But I'd do the same thing if it was just one person and they had a really awesome idea that was genuine and they wanted, me to be a part of it. I'd react the same exact way.
And that's a great thing to have because I wasn't even sure if I should ask that because I'm like, Brandon is a very personal guy. If you just come to him with respect, he'll treat you with respect. I kind of got that when I was on your Twitter the first time, where I don't know if you remember hearing someone all the time being like, this is a producer that has a lot of greatness to them, a lot of great value. Everyone should be checking them out. You probably get a bunch of those all the time. So.
Oh, I do get quite a bit of them, so, but it's really appreciated, every single one. So people don't have to go out of their way to say, kind things about you. So when anybody, it doesn't matter if I catch it, when anybody says something, I have a responsibility to respond, like with graciousness, like, cause, I remember there was a time nobody wanted to listen to anything that I did, you know what I mean? So like, I mean, I'm always just, people don't have to say kind things to you. So I think, just taking the time to just be thankful for that, for any attention that you get, that's a big deal. So, yeah.
I get that. I get that. Let's see. Question number 9. Oh, this is a very silly one. It's a very silly one. So I remember when you were on, I think it was either on Instagram or on Twitter. You were talking about remixing some Disney songs for
Oh
a.
man, yeah.
Oh God, that's a throwback for me. Just like I remember when you first announced that. Good God.
Man, yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it's been a while for you. But which Disney track was your favorite to do a whole mix for?
Oh, hmm. Because there's two that I like equally. It's either the Snow White remix, Wishing Well,
Ooh.
or it's the one it's the Aristocats one. The little breakdown where Duchess is playing the harp. That's probably my yeah, out of the two, that's probably my favorite one because it was the first one I did. It was the first little remix that I did for that. So, and it's so interesting too because, I kept saying, like I want to release it, but I didn't want to release it with just those 3 or 4 songs. I want to, try to get as many as I could. But I guess some guy or some gal got, tired of waiting. They just put all this stuff on YouTube. So I'm like, okay, well, but my plan is to try to get as much of them together as I can so I can release it the right way. So, but the people like what they like. So
I get it. I'm just like, man, I haven't heard those in so long, but I still am just like, I don't know if I'm gonna ask this question without just cheesing up a little bit.
oh man, yeah.
All right. So the penultimate question. Um, hmm. Let's see. Question number 10. There's the full one. So, um, yeah, I was reading that correctly. Thank God. So, for all the different tracks that you've made, all the different moves that you've made for yourself, what has been the hardest move for yourself as a producer? Because everyone has that one step that feels like you're stumbling a little bit before you catch yourself. But what was that step?
So for me, my battles are typically internal. I don't really deal with too much external stuff because it's easy for me to kind of block that out. You know what I mean? Like, the majority of stuff, like I don't just it's so yeah, like so my battles are typically internal. So I think the hardest thing for me to do, which is not really creatively, because I don't get like when people they talk about having creative blocks, I don't really get creative blocks. And I think that's because I sort of live my entire world through my imagination. So I could pick up a cup and to me it's a robot. You know what I mean? Like, so that's never been an issue for me. I think the issue for me stems in having the fortitude to continue on even when I don't see it, I don't feel it, and I'm not getting good positive feedback, because the thing about greatness is that castles are built in your mind and in your heart before you ever see them in reality. And I think the thing for me has always been, without any sort of cynicism, doubt, or disbelief, do you believe that where you're going is for you? And sometimes I go back and forth, but ultimately my decision is to move forward because I really believe that I'm not just here for myself, but there are people that I haven't even met yet who will be inspired, motivated, by my life and my example. And I have a responsibility to keep going, even when I don't feel it, because there's somebody out there in the back of my mind who, once I get to wherever my desired place will be, they'll say, I know that I can do it because you did it. I know that I can because I saw you do it. I saw you, traverse. I saw you get up when you didn't want to get out. I saw you do it without an audience. Because that's the thing. It's like, it's easy to talk about, like how to trust the process when you have everything that you want, but can you continue to trust the process in a storm? Can you move forward when people are trying to persuade you to move backward? Can you continue on when everybody else is out there doing whatever they want and you're sitting there putting your nose to the grind? Can you do that? Because I think that's what makes people great or excellent or successful. Because the thing about success is, the only thing it's going to do is it's going to amplify who you already were before you got to that aforementioned place. So that's why I talk about characters so much, because the character is what allows you to maintain and keep what you have. So I think for me, my battle has always been, do you believe that where you're going, what you're doing is for you? And can you do it beyond your five senses? Can you believe when you don't want to believe? Can you move forward when you don't want to? Can you continue to have a healthy opinion of yourself while you're doing it, and not judging yourself by your current circumstances, not judge yourself by your age, not judge yourself by what everyone else that you think is, doing? Can you not judge yourself by looking at what somebody else has and thinking that, well, maybe I should have what they have, or maybe I should have already had it by now, or can you continue on through that, just through that mindset? So I think for me, that was my issue, and that's also the thing that I'd say I mostly overcome that. But that was a process of over 10 years. You know what I mean? So, and that's the thing. It's like, everybody wants the reward, but in order to have the reward, you have to have the responsibility of carrying your cross, so to speak. And that one for me, that was mine. So, but that's why I talk so much about perseverance and character and everything, because these are the ingredients to success, So, but yeah. So I hope that answers your question.
Oh, it did. It more than did, because good Lord. I could ask this question for a lot of people, and I'll always be astonished, because every answer means the world to me.
Mm.
No one really knows it, but honestly, a lot of these answers I get from every single person I talk to means the world to me. It doesn't matter the station, what they do creatively, everything matters. Which is why, for this final question, not just for this interview, but for my tenure as the host. So, Mr. Brandon, you make a lot of music for a lot of different genre things, whether it's for like someone's YouTube channel. I saw that you made the YouTube intro for them. I forget the YouTube channel in itself, but I know they use some music you produced for them.
Yeah.
You're making stuff for your own TV show. You're making a lot of different songs for a lot of different venues. But what are... I'm just going to say 3 genres of either games or TV/movie. What are genres that you wouldn't want your music for? Because I know certain producers say they want to be everywhere, but some people say they have their limit about what they want for their fans to listen to.
That's a really good question. Nobody's ever asked me that before. I think for me it's difficult because I don't like I don't like limitation. When people tell me I can't do something, that just disagrees with my spirit. With my spirit, I'm just like, no, I can do anything. But not to say that I wouldn't put my music in this. I just don't think my music might fit this. but maybe like a horror flick. You know what I mean? Like, and not because I wouldn't do it, but I just don't think my music would fit that iteration of, you know, a film or whatever. As far as just genre specific series, or I'm pretty open to, you know, like everything, but I do think that my music um, speaks more to a certain group of people because I never got that my music sounded uh, like it was made for a like a vocalist, like whether it be a rapper, singer, person that does poetry, you know, whatever, spoken word, whatever. People would always tell me that my music sounded like it fit, like they would always talk about scenes in a movie. So they'd be like, man, like this sounds like a scene in this TV show, or this sounds like it would be good for this movie or this, you know, like video game or whatever. And I think that was kind of like that was sort of giving me a vision into, you know, like where I'm stepping into now. Because when I look back on everything that happened to me, as far as, you know, like, because I've had, you know, famous people, you know, when they listen to my music, they would always say, well, your music is too musical. And for the longest, I was very offended by that. But it took me a very long time to understand what they were actually saying. And I think what they were really saying was, your music is too big for where you're trying to place it. You know what I mean? Like, you're trying to get, I've had a young lady who I've been wanting to work with her for years. And she just won't work with me. And I'm like, yo, like, what? And she's like, if I sing on your music, Brandon, I'm gonna make the track sound bad. She's like, you're not gonna elevate the music with my voice on it. And it's probably one of the greatest compliments I've ever received, but it still doesn't make me not want to work with her. I totally want to work with her. I'm like, yo, what's going on? Like every year I'm like, hey, is this the year? Like, hey, is this the year? Like, so for me, yeah, like I think my music can speak to any genre, um, no matter what it is. I mean, because like I said, I grew up listening to everything. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like I was listening to the Mars Volta, like, you know, like a couple days ago. Like they're like one of my favorite, you know, like bands. But at the same time, I'm turning around listening to like Oscar Peterson, you know, like listen to a bunch of jazz music. So it's I don't like the limitation of anything. But maybe horror films, because I just don't see my music in slasher films. You know, like I think I could make something for it, but I just think my music is very like whimsical, and, you know, gives you a sense of peace and gives you like open world vibes and whatnot. So yeah, I think yeah, I hope that answers that. But yeah, yeah, yeah.
It definitely answered it because for the longest time I'm just like, so many different producers or songwriters are just, any person in the music genre itself has limitations about where their talents can go and where they can view their talents to go. But I never really understand where certain people with their craft see where their music doesn't match certain stuff. So it kind of helps me better since I'm not a musician, like how my kids are just like, Dad, you play music, but you're not a musician for a trade. Like, you just play it for, like, yourself. So I guess it's just me trying to make better sense of it, since I'm trying to be more appreciative about the arts as a whole, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. I think I just love music. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
don't care where it comes from, and I think that's another way that musicians limit themselves is we tend to neglect the quality of listening. You know what I mean? Like, you know, we're always trying to show off how good we are at something, but I think sometimes we neglect the quality of listening. And I think it's the quality of listening that allows us to open up to other genres of music, because I really do think that your ability to create is going to be only as great as your ability to imagine. So if you only listen to a certain type of music, then I don't think you're going to be able to create beyond that scope. And for me, I just love music in its entirety, like, so I think for me, that's just something that is so, it's imperative to everything that I do. Like, I want to make music forever. I love making music. I love being a part of music. I love being a part of what other people want to be. You know what I mean? Like, because for me, it's a way for me to communicate with other people, because that's one of the things that music does, is it brings people together from different ethnicity groups, cultures, races, like just everything, without even having to say a word to people. You know what I mean? Like, it brings people together. And that's what I want to do through my music. So I would hope that when people are listening to whatever I create, it makes them want to commune with other people, because I think that's what life is about. I think life is about people.
Yeah.
And as we continue to move forward, I would hope that we would get to places where we say, you know what? Yeah, like it's all these differences just show how we're all one. So yeah.
That was very, very poetically beautiful, sir. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, thank you.
I wish I had a lot more questions left for you, but like I said, I only had 11 written up for the day, and I can't think of anything off the top of my head. So, I apologize to everyone watching, knowing how usually I go for like an hour and a half, but guys, if I wanted to end like my whole run as the host of the show, I wanted it to be professional, calm, at a nice, gentle pace with one of the people I've admired for so long that their music has inspired me to do more to push for my goal for my kids to
Oh,
be
thank you.
inspiration for them so they can be an inspiration for others. So,
Thank you.
no problem. I'd thank you. It's like a whole entire thank you cycle. I'm not trying to break because honestly, for anyone watching this, y'all really need to support EyeLoveBrandon today because you never know when life's gonna make a nice humble artist become one of the greatest of all times to where you're gonna miss out on the growing process of seeing them still developing and growing until they find their apex moment, which does eventually happen for all creatives. We all have an apex moment.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So thank you guys for joining me for my final episode of Cove Club. We're gonna have more, like maybe next year or the year after that. We gotta look for a new host because everyone I've known is like, we want you to stay the host. We want you to keep doing this. It's like, guys, I've got to write, produce, direct, act, edit. I got to do a lot of stuff. If I'm always the host, I'm never going to be fully focused on what I need to do for my own end goals. As much as I love talking to people, I got to make certain sacrifices.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you guys really enjoyed this episode, make sure that you give Brandon a follow. Go buy some of his albums. I've bought a couple of his songs and I play them on my way to work every day.
Oh, appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. As well as just keep pushing for his show of Star Child, because I want to see that become a reality. I would love to sit down with my youngest and be like, hey, this is a show from my favorite producer with a lot of my favorite voice actors. We're gonna have a father-daughter day. We're gonna watch this together. It'll be
Oh,
great.
it's coming. It's coming. I promise. It's coming.
And I guess for like a lesser extent, I'm kidding. For anyone that wants to support the studio, because we are trying to do more stuff. We're making some original things. I think by 2030 we're gonna be starting on our first video game, which
Nice.
which might be some visual novel stuff, might be an open world game. Either way, we're gonna be hitting up Brandon, of course, because in my mind, he's always one of the top 5 music related people I want to hit up for this project.
I'll be ready.
Obviously, we're making more shows. I'm talking to several animators. We're trying to do more stuff, but if you want us to get to that upper threshold, we have a Patreon, we have a Ko-fi, or you guys could just try to support us everywhere on our Spotify that's launching as of January of 2022 with this episode on the Spotify that y'all are hearing right now, where y'all could listen to all that sort of stuff. Or if you want to get some visual stuff and whatever, go to the YouTube channel, subscribe there, support us all over the place, because we want to build with a lot of amazing people like Brandon, like Christian O'Boyle, like Melissa Medina, like Zeno Robinson. We're trying to build a network that supports the best people in the world, but we can't do it alone. It's got to be a united team effort. Why am I sounding so passionate all of a sudden? Good God.
That's good. That's good. That's good. You're laying down the foundation. You're seeing the vision before it even happens. So that's what's going to take you there.
I thank you. Anyway, guys, I have been your host, and my amazing guest has been producer, writer, and showrunner himself of EyeLoveBrandon. And we will see all of you amazing people in our own collective ventures.
Thank you.
Everyone, you all have a wonderful day, afternoon, night, whichever. But make sure it's a safe day, safe afternoon, or safe night. Because I love you. Even if I don't know you, I love you.